Oh, hello, gang, and welcome to a new episode of Retroversity. Right off the bat, Sal hitting me with some breaking news that I was not. I was busy getting the show together. I wish I had the image to throw up on screen, but I don't. So, just a quick introduction to this show. This show is an outgrowth of a lot of other shows Sal and I have done: Spider-Versity, Krypton Academy, Mutant Academy. It's called Retroversity, where we're kind of going back through different types of eras and genres of movies right now because you all voted on it. We're going, and Man of Steel and Batman v Superman, our coverage of that did so well. We're going through the original DCEU. Specifically today, we are talking about Wonder Woman. I'm your host, DJ Wooldridge. With me, as always, is Sal. Hey, Sal.
Hey, what up?
And Sal, right as we were getting ready to go live, he hit me with this announcement that James Gunn just hit us with. It's a picture. I do not have the image for you. Sorry, everybody. We'll go look it up. But it is an image of Superman standing next to Lex Luthor in his war suit. And it says Man of Tomorrow in theaters July 9th, 2027. Now, Sal, this kind of surprises. Well, hold on. Actually, this adds fuel to the fire. Hold on a second. Because James Gunn, people have been like, James Gunn, Superman sequel. And he's like, well, I'm working on it. Is it a sequel? Superman's in it, but it is a sequel. Could it be something else? Who's to say? And when you have a movie called Man of Tomorrow,
that's a Superman sequel. Like, come on.
But here's the thing, and it's Lex Luthor in his war suit. But here's the thing I'm going to throw out there. I've been saying for a while now. I was like, Superman's in it, but it's not a sequel. And then he said in another interview, he's like, this was something. I think it's the same thing. I've seen some comments that are like, he was talking about two different projects. Going back on it, I think it's the same project where he's like, this was a part of my initial pitch to David Zaslav, and we didn't announce it as part of our slate because I didn't want somebody else ripping it off. And I'm like, well, that means it's not. If it's a semi-sequel to Superman, but you're worried about somebody doing something similar, it's not Justice League because we've had 4 Avengers movies already. And we've had a Justice League movie already. So I was like, what could you possibly be talking about? And I landed on like, oh, I'll bet you it's a Legion of Superheroes movie. I'll bet you it's Superman and Supergirl go to the Legion comes back in time, or they go to the Legion. And I see this image. I'm like, well, I guess that's out the window. But Man of Tomorrow.
Maybe
Tomorrow is famously in the future. Tomorrow's famously in the future.
Yeah. Well, but Lex is in it, and he's wearing the power armor. Now, it could be, I mean, this would be very soon, but the Mark Waitification of the DCU notwithstanding, the whole Birthright influence on the new movie, there's another Mark Waid Superman Lex Luthor story called Superman Lex Luthor, or The Last Days of Lex Luthor.
Yeah.
Just dropped. I mean, the first issue came out 2 years ago, but who's counting?
Yeah.
Just dropped as a hardcover not too long ago. And, I mean, the last issue came out in June.
Yeah.
It's a story about Lex Luthor dying and Superman taking him to different parts of his life. He takes him to the fortress, he takes him to the bottom of the ocean, and he takes him to the 31st century, where he's trying to find a cure for Lex Luthor's ailment. Could this movie just be a movie about Superman trying to save Lex Luthor?
Would I be interested in that movie?
I mean, I was interested in the comic book.
It could be. Here's the thing. Like, one, yeah, man. I mean, you could do anything. Like, Mark Waid's great, and I didn't read that run, but I'm sure it'll be. I mean, it sounds like a good Superman story. It's just like, or do you want that for the Superman sequel? I'm like, I don't know.
I mean, yeah, it's like, come on, Brainiac, Mattel. I don't want to spoil it, but let's just say there's another big superhero or Superman villain in it, and it gets epic in scope. Like the story. Well, it opens up.
I don't want us to get ahead of ourselves.
Yeah.
Brainiac's got to be in this, right? Like he's got to.
Oh, well, let's just say there's a little bit of Brainiac plays a pivotal role in Last Days of Lex Luthor. But you got to use Brainiac because you've never used him yet.
You haven't used him. He's like the one other guy. Like he's like the other. Like if somebody, obviously, a lot of audiences were able to pull Zod. He's been in 2 movies, but like for comic readers, like it's Lex and then Brainiac. Those are the 2 big guys.
Yeah.
And I will say because I was kind of bummed when I got in my head that it's like, I'll bet you it's Legion, and I'm like, fuck, I just want to fight Brainiac. And I'm like, well, there is a Brainiac on the Legion. Like you could say like Brainiac's doing something in the past that factors into the 31st century, and so he is the villain. It's like, again, truthfully, when it comes to my Legion of Superheroes theory, similar to your Last Days of Lex Luthor, it's like, is that what I want the Superman sequel to be? Not really, but like, I'll take it, I guess.
No, but I mean, honestly, you know, my next James Gunn joint for the DCU coming out in less than 2 years, more or less. I want it to be World's Finest. You need. I appreciate that. Like, yes, should a Superman sequel or spiritual sequel kind of be about Superman, whereas this movie was about Superman entirely, but also it's a springboard for the whole universe. It's a way of introducing new characters. Again, what, 4 or 5 members of the Justice Gang introduced?
Yeah.
Not to mention a mural with gunfire from Bloodlines on it.
Yeah.
There's a million different characters introduced in this, and a bigger world of the superhero community. Would it be kind of cool for them to narrow it down? You know, make the next Superman movie really purely a Superman story.
Yeah.
But also, I was kind of hoping that by 2 years, we'd have a bigger DC universe.
Yeah.
You know, not just bigger, but also like, yes, Guy Gardner's fun. As it turns out, we all like Guy Gardner. You know, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But also, like, let's not forget Wonder Woman and Batman.
Yes. Yeah. I'm with you, dude. And it's there is kind of an allure. We're gonna get into it, touch on it more. This touches on what we're talking about because we're talking about Wonder Woman today. But there is kind of an allure to like, what if what we did before, but like good this time? Like, what if a Batman Super movie, but it was like good and you liked it? And I'm like,
right, but it was called World's Finest, but it was happy, or at the very least, it didn't result in the death of one of them.
Yeah. So I totally get that. And I'm with you too. Do you think there's anything to? I've been wanting to ask you about this. Do you think there's any correlation with the naming of the Justice Gang and one of the many names for the villain team being the Injustice Gang? Do you think that's kind of like laying the groundwork for like, this is why they're called the Injustice Gang because of this situation?
I want to believe it is, but I don't know.
Yeah, because I always saw like the Justice Gang, that's a fine throwaway name because this isn't the Justice League, and we'll get to the Justice League eventually.
Right.
But then I was like, could there be more to it? Could this be like, this is why the bad guys are called the Injustice Gang because of this? Like, maybe Lex is in his power suit, maybe villain team, maybe like the Superman Revenge Squad. That's Injustice Gang's better than Superman Revenge Squad. There's a name.
Like nothing.
Yeah. That could be cool. Superman versus a team. Like, hey, but here's Toyman, here's Metallo, here's Brainiac.
Yeah, if you're gonna throw a whole bunch of characters at once in one movie, let it not be the superheroes. Let it be the villains, because at least then it's fun. Well, like what's it called? Like the Batman kind of did, where it was like, here you go.
Yeah. Well, and also like speaking of stuff Marvel hasn't done. Marvel has never been in a position where it can really capitalize on a villain team up because most of them die at the end of their movies.
Yes.
And that's something that there was that allure. Like, I know people don't like the Joss Whedon cut of Justice League, but I did like the promise of like, hey, next time they're going to fight all their villains. I'm like, that would have been what I want.
Yes, I would have been very okay with that. That was like one of the few moments from that movie that I was actually kind of excited about. I was like, that's great. Yeah, Legion of Superheroes. Let's go.
Dude,
League of Doom?
Legion of Doom. Yeah. That's how they kept me hooked in. Like, hey, don't worry, next time. They kept saying that. And I was like, and then eventually I realized, like, no, stop.
There will never be a next time. Yeah. Like, next time they'll do the thing I want them to do with these characters. Honestly, that's kind of the folly of Marvel right now. Is like, well, eventually they have to do the thing I want, right?
Yeah. Well, it's so funny. And I do think, I don't want to get off on a tangent immediately, but I do think it pertains to watching this because in the past couple of days I rewatched Thunderbolts. It's on Disney Plus, and I like that.
Me too.
But it is one. We're not talking about Thunderbolts today, but one. It was like, damn, Florence Pugh's so good in this.
She's so great.
Crazy. By the time we got to Infinity War, RDJ had been in like 6 of those movies, and it's like that they should have done. Florence Pugh should have been in 6 of these. Because she's, to me, watching this is like, she's clearly the breakout of this era. Like, she is, like, you should have. So the fact that I think she is in the most of any character in the multiverse saga, but it's like she should have been everywhere.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. You should have known that when you made Black Widow.
Yeah.
That she was it, and you should have, like, really. And I think they kind of almost did when it came to, like, what was it? Hawkeye.
Yeah,
where,
she shows up on
like,
Hawkeye. Those
such a great surprise.
Yep.
And all of the viral clips from Hawkeye are of her.
Of her and Haley Steinfeld, which is another
who was also great.
So when I thought about when I thought about Florence Pugh, I'm like, how has Haley Steinfeld been an only Hawkeye? Because if I'm like in the room, and you're like you're saying, you're like, well, these two, we've got money. These two are money. We need to bank off them more. And it's like they didn't bring any. Whatever. This is not. But I bring it up to this rewatching Wonder Woman. Years since I watched it last time. There's parts of it like, wow, that doesn't work. But it's like, watching Next to Thunderbolts, it's like, but you know what? It feels like a movie. Like it feels like a movie. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So
I know. That was the best part, arguably, of the Marvels. People forget about that great post-credit scene where you got Hawkeye in there.
Yeah. And they're like, again, like you're saying, don't worry, we're gonna make the thing you want. Are you dumb?
Like when?
Yeah.
When? Like look, I'm not a grifter, so I'm not gonna like make a whole point about, the attack on masculinity in Marvel movies. But like, even I'll admit that if I had the choice between a movie that is basically just the things in the comic books happening, like Spider-Man swinging across the cityscape in Hawkeye the show, or Kate Bishop and Ms. Marvel teaming up to fight one guy screwing around in a neighborhood, versus an extended sequence of characters who only communicate through singing.
Yeah.
I'm taking the other thing, like, come on. Like, how, you've had all the things you want from the comic books for like 80 years. Here's one from me.
Yeah.
No one's knocking down your door to tell a great story about Sleepwalker
or
Moon Knight, okay? Like,
well, hold on with Moon Knight, but it's funny too that you'll see a lot of stuff. I don't think there's a better example of something that is starting to feel more true to me, which is people that are successful have no fucking idea what makes them successful, because I think a large part of that, if you're going to be honest with yourself, you have to acknowledge a huge chunk of that is luck. And I don't think there's a better litmus test. There's a few of them that we're seeing now, but one of the great litmus tests is the MCU, because like I'm reading the MCU book and it's like, they fucking winged it and it worked out. And the problem, and that's great, but they're still winging it and it's not working out. You know what I mean? Like they don't know what was working.
We thought that they knew the secret sauce, and it turns out that they're still making the same mistakes they were making 25 years ago, where
not to say there were smart decisions being made. But a huge chunk of the MCU's success is right place, right time, right product. And now times have changed, and so it's like, like we're going to talk about it with this movie. Nobody else, you're talking about the secret sauce. It's like DC could figure out the secret sauce. Monsterverse couldn't really. I guess that's the next best thing. But you know what I mean? Like Universal with their connected universe. It's like, well, truthfully, Marvel didn't really figure out the secret sauce. Like clearly,
they tricked us, like, because they thought they did, and like sometimes they do. Like they get the costumes right. They have, they had for a while until they fired everyone from Marvel Comics. A deep connection to the stories that they were adapting. True to the characters, that kind of thing. But also just the fact that they were like, no. The reason why Iron Man worked is because we didn't have a full script and we just let them figure it out. No. You had Jon Favreau, who has not only a comedic background, but a strong filmmaking background and an acting background. Robert Downey Jr., another great improver who also has a comedy background. Like, these are people who are good at riffing, who are also trying to keep a company alive by taking a big swing. You don't riff on a $600 million movie.
Well, the fact, dude, we're getting reports in like, still haven't finished the script we've wrapped principal photography, but we still don't have a script. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking?
Then you failed. Then you failed. You know what I mean? Like, no one. And especially when you think about like these are candy manufacturers. Like these are people who, but like you don't see Reese's going like, well, let's just see what the batch comes out like today. Like, no, it's a science.
Well, listen. Speaking of science. Today, like I mentioned, we're talking about Wonder Woman, which is I would say arguably, I'm sure there'll people be in the comments that'll be like, I'm going to say it was the first real hit of
Yes.
the year. And I'm sure the people are like, well, if you look at the box office numbers, like I understand, but this was the first one where it did what reasonably well financially. It was well received. We were all like, oh, okay, there might be some gas in the tank of this DCEU thing.
Big time.
Before, because remember, we're coming off Man of Steel, a little divisive.
Yeah.
Batman v Superman, even more divisive.
A little less divisive. More people were like, this kind of sucks.
Yeah. Suicide Squad, where it's like, wow, the wheels are really coming off. And Wonder Woman's like, oh, you just a real shot in the arm right before we hit Justice League. And everybody's like, well, all right.
Yeah. Wonder Woman and Aquaman were arguably the best and worst things to happen to the DCEU.
Mm-hmm.
The best because they made money and they engendered a lot of good faith from their audience.
Yes.
Worst because they couldn't reboot after those two movies.
Yeah. They could just scrap the whole thing. It's like, well, we got this work. This is working for us.
These two characters
and Margot
who
Robbie
are not Batman or Superman.
Yes.
Are working great. And again, it's just Aquaman made $1 billion.
Yep.
Those days are over.
Yeah, but and it was the same year. I want to say, was that the same year that Captain Marvel made $1 billion?
Yeah.
That time's done. That's done. But I do want to mention up top, if you want us to read your comment live on the air, thanks for everybody joining us live. You can do that through the super chat. It also helps support the show and helps keep the lights on. So we really appreciate that. And as always, we have a charity of the month. I like to shout out to a charity every month. This month's charity is translifeline.org. Trans Lifeline is a grassroots hotline for and microgrants nonprofit organization offering direct emotional and financial support to trans people in crisis. They provide peer support for the trans community, have been divested from police since day one, and it is run by and for trans people. And if you're wondering why I do a charity of the month, the fact that when Sal said, "Did you hear the news?" my heart sank. And then it was like new Superman movie. I'm like, oh, great. So
that's good news.
Yeah. So doing a charity of the month is a way to be like, hey, maybe, vibes are bad. Maybe we can work together to make them better.
Yeah.
But speaking of making bad vibes into good vibes, Wonder Woman came out in 2017. It was directed by Patty Jenkins and written by Alan Heinberg, with the story credits for both Zack Snyder and Jason Fuchs. When a pilot crashes and tells of conflict in the outside world, Diana, an Amazonian warrior in training, leaves home to fight a war, discovering her full powers and true destiny. And on Rotten Tomatoes, it's got a 93% with an audience score of 83%. And so now we're going to get into our main segment, same segment we do every episode of Retroversity, which is Kalel No. So we open with a little bit of, we open this movie with a little origin inception. We have some Wayne Tech guys bring Diana the photo from Batman v Superman, and that makes her remember back to her childhood. And in her childhood, she's like, hey, why are we an island full of women? Which also then sends her mom further into the backstory of Themyscira. Long story short, basically, we've got Zeus filling the role of the traditional Judeo-Christian God. He's good, he's just, he's truth, he's light, yada, yada. He makes humans, which, by the way, is not, when they're talking about Zeus, I'm like, that doesn't sound like the Zeus I know from mythology, but okay. And filling if you've got your classic Judeo-Christian deity, who's going to fill your devil role? That would be Ares, where he's the one that tempts humanity into darkness and war and conflict. And for some reason, Wonder Woman's not the easiest backstory to pull off, gang. So for some reason, Zeus's answer to this is, what if Amazons, which I don't quite know what the math there is. It's a little, it's the purpose and function of the Amazons is a little unclear to me personally, but
Yeah. Well, he's a god. Who are we to question it?
Yeah. So, and he makes them, and we kind of gloss it. We kind of like yada yada through it, but they are enslaved by humanity, and then they are freed and sent, and they help Zeus fight. I think they help Zeus fight Ares. Anyway, whatever. There's a big battle. Ares kills all the other gods. He is mortally wounded by Zeus as Zeus is dying. Zeus protects the Amazons by sending them to the island. Part of the story is that there's this mythical god killer that should Ares ever return, we have this to take him. And it's one of those things that, like, well, if you have that, why didn't you use it?
Yeah, why not use it right now? I mean,
yeah, there's an answer to that question later in the movie. So Meanwhile, we've got Robin Wright. I think the character's name is Antiope. In my notes, she's always Robin Wright.
Yes.
And she's the general of the Amazons. One presumes there's an Amazonian army.
Yep.
Because Ares might return, I think, is the assumption there.
Yeah, I think that's their justification, even though it's like they're Amazons, they're warrior women. Just let them have an army. Why do they need an army just for one specific purpose?
Well,
oh, right, because it's a movie, you got to keep it tight.
Yeah. Because and the other thing is, why would you need? So here's the thing. And we mentioned a little bit of, up top. I think I mentioned that I was reading that book, the MCU, that's kind of talking about the history of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And I just read recently the chapter Black Panther, and it talks a lot about how, like, originally, like when they cast Chadwick Boseman, they were like, "Hey, we want you to have an American or British accent." And he's like, "That implies that Wakanda was colonized at some point. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to create an African accent that we're all going to do." And so that was in Civil War. And then once Ryan Coogler was cast to direct, they did a whole trip across Africa and really thought about what would an African country look like that had been untouched by colonizer hands. And I bring all that up to say it doesn't sound like the same amount of homework went into figuring out how Themyscira works.
No, I think a similar amount of effort went into forcing everyone else who's from Themyscira to have the same accent as Gal Gadot. Because we didn't know. Honestly, like, I mean it, people, we didn't know how bad she is.
Yeah. Well, and it's funny, and I'm going to get into it because she's not awful in this.
She is not awful.
Well, and I'll just say it right now. I think because I was wondering, it's like, how is she better in this than like every other thing I've seen her in?
Yeah.
I think the way they position Diana, because she's new to the outside world, is very childlike, and it plays into Gal Gadot's range.
Yes, yeah, exactly. And that's the thing, is a good point about range.
Yeah.
It's about that. It's about like fitting into a box. And while that sounds very restrictive, it is. Some folk have much range.
Yeah.
Some folk have limited range, and some folk are bad.
Yeah.
Gal Gadot, I think, is somewhere between bad and limited range. But if you give her that, if you can work within that range, you know, good things can happen. You can, you know, there are bad actors in The Godfather too, but no one really talks about that.
Yeah, and the other thing is, and it's not, I don't know why I feel no really need to go to the back for Gal Gadot, if I'm being honest. But the truth is, a lot of and I don't know that Gal ever reached superstar status.
No.
You know, if you're thinking about your movie stars, right? A lot of them do one thing really well. You know, one or two things really well. If you're thinking about your actors that can do a lot, those tend to be your character actors. That they're like, oh, that guy. You know what I mean? And so that's not like, because to me, whenever I think about Gal outside of Wonder Woman, I think of Red Notice, which is a movie I haven't seen, but it's like this is going to sound mean, and whatever. But that movie was Gal, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, and Ryan Reynolds. And so when I think about that, those are actors with they have a very specific, this is what I can do.
Yes, they do.
They're not going to blow the doors off. I got a lot of pushback on this, but when Robert Downey Jr. was announced as Dr. Doom, I'm like, Robert Downey Jr. does a couple things really well.
Yes,
like,
he does.
I would argue, better than most people. I don't know that Dr. Doom falls within that.
Probably not. I will, you know, in RDJ's defense, while, you know, in The Judge, he's just a meaner Iron Man. He's great. And again, that's within the range of his abilities. He's amazing at what he does. But like earlier in his career, pre-Iron Man, $1 billion a movie, actor status, the dude could do anything. Like, I think that Robert Downey Jr. has been like, well, it's easier, it's less, you know, he's put into roles that he accepts roles that he wants to do, but like he also is kind of like cast a type now, as opposed to before where they're like, I don't know where the hell to put him. Like, remember him as Chaplin. That is not him just being Robert Downey Jr. And he's transformative in that movie.
And I know when I bring this up, a lot of people bring up Oppenheimer, which I think he's very good in. I would argue, I don't think it completely falls out of what I'm talking about.
It's on the other side, like, but it's still on the fringe of the thing that people identify RDJ to be. Yeah,
he's not Cillian Murphy, like, you know what I mean? Like,
no. But he's actually like transformed into something else. But he's also great. Like, but he's
this is not. I think RDJ is fantastic. I don't think we were talking about this earlier. You don't get an MCU without RDJ. You just don't.
Nope.
Or at least not as successful as. It's kind of like what was I? Oh, it makes me think about like a world where Game of Thrones wasn't the biggest show in the world, where
Yeah.
it did well. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It did well, and it's like it's a completely different animal. Similarly,
Yeah.
like you could have, you know, they talked a long time. Tom Cruise, Iron Man, that movie probably would have done well. Maybe it would have been a part of the MCU, but the MCU would have been a very different animal at that point.
Yes, absolutely.
Anyway.
Yeah.
So the point of bringing that up is if you think too hard about how Themyscira works, it doesn't make sense.
No, I mean, I don't know why it's a mistake to try and explain it.
Yeah, wait, I don't know that is. I think you just need to spend time. Here's and I know I bring this person up as an example, but I think it's a writer who I admire, who puts the work in and whose work tends to be thrown out by the next person.
Right.
But when Grant Morrison did Wonder Woman Earth 1, they spent a lot of time thinking about like, no, there's not going to be like any penis-shaped build. It's a society of women. What is that? Like, what is that?
Right? What does that look like? Yeah, exactly.
And so it's like, and I really appreciated that because it's like, why are we giving Wonder Woman a sword? Why does she need a penis weapon? Like, why?
Yeah,
and it's fine. But I think if you really think about it,
yeah,
if you had creators that really dug in, and I would argue the creators of Black Panther really dug in.
Yeah.
You get a richer experience. You know what I mean?
I think so too. Yeah, I agree. Yeah. I agree insofar as, you know, if you have people who really care, you get something special. But like, you know, Wonder Woman is also, she's so many things and she's also nothing. Like, she's a lot of different ideas, and she could be very meaningful, or she could be a compliment to Batman and Superman. And
it's tough too because you have to thread the needle of, and I think this movie mostly does a good job. Like you said, you need to differentiate it from the rest of the Trinity, Superman and Batman, which is trickier with Superman. And you also need to define, she bears the weight of being the most iconic female superhero.
Yeah.
And we live in a culture where most of the people that defined what that were men. And so I'm not saying it's not tricky. And I do like this movie. So I'm not saying they did a bad job. It's just one of those, like, Themyscira is just like the whole, like, you know, it's a peaceful society. It's separated from the rest of the world, and yet we have this militarized and it's like, you're thinking on. That's still, everything in this society is still defined along masculine terms, masculine hierarchies, masculine.
Zack Snyder is intimately involved in this movie, and he made 300. I rest my case.
And I get it, man. I get why you would say, like, what if the Amazons are 300? I do get it. I just don't agree with. I don't think it's anyway. So Queen Hippolyta, played by Connie Nielsen. There was a bunch of actresses up for the role. Nicole Kidman was up for it. They offered it to Charlize Theron, which makes sense because Patty Jenkins cut her teeth on Monster.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, she turned it down, and Nicole Kidman had to back out due to scheduling stuff. Even though I think she probably would have done a real good job here. Connie Nielsen's great, by the way. Not knocking Connie Nielsen.
Agreed.
But she's like, no, I don't want my daughter to train for a war that may or may not. I don't know why we're training for war, but we are. I don't want her to do that. And then finally she relents. And mostly this allows her superpowered demigod daughter to beat up the rest of the citizens of I always find it funny of, like, this superpowered Nepo baby, like it's just like, wait, I got your daughter has, like, god powers. Why are you?
It's not fair.
Making me fight her, man. Come on.
Yeah, I'd call foul.
Yeah. So during training one day, now as an adult, we've now transitioned from Kid Diana to Gal Gadot. She uses her little bracelet trick that we saw in Batman v Superman, and in true superhero fashion, everybody sees this display of power and freaks out for reasons that I don't quite understand. Like, everybody's like, oh
no, she's a freak. I love the word freak because Hollywood can't get over using it.
No, man.
Anyway, but yeah, it's that. Yeah. It's just because it's a superhero movie.
Well, yeah. What context do we have? Like, what does this mean to the people in the scene? Like, that this happened,
right? Why do they give a? They know who she is, right? Like,
yeah. Wouldn't they be like, that's cool? Like, none of us are hurt. So, like, anyway. So Diana runs off, At this moment, it's so funny because like she closes her eyes. It's almost as if she wills Steve Trevor to crash but anyway, she's there, and through the little like veil that protects Themyscira, a biplane flies through and crashes, and she dives in to save him. And it's a really kind of cool sequence because he's going underwater and he looks up and Diana's there in the sunlight like an angel. It's really effective.
Yeah.
And she dives down after him and saves him. And what's a cool like little twist on this is the traditional Wonder Woman origin. Anybody familiar with it will be familiar with this. The cool twist on it is the people that shot Steve down are right on the other side of it. So this gives an opportunity for the Amazonians to kick some ass because the Germans, and this is the World War I iteration of the Germans.
Exactly.
Yeah. They show up, and Steve has a moment of like, hey, because they do one of those like, again, it's all very this is Sparta. They fire arrows at him, and Steve has moments like, hey, you guys got guns, right? That whole arrow bit was really cool, but like you guys have
you have something stronger, right? So anything. Do we have a minute? We should talk about just the fact that like this movie, because it's interesting, this movie isn't just another member of the DCU.
Yeah.
This is not just another Suicide Squad.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm sure for them, at least as far as Zack Snyder and whoever was in charge of Warner Brothers at the time, it was.
Yeah.
But as far as Patty Jenkins is concerned, as far as the audience is concerned, it's not. It is.
Mm-hmm.
This is a bigger movie that means something, and it's and there's a lot of really. I don't know if it's intentional, but it is brilliant alchemy going on here because you have someone like Gal Gadot who has incredibly limited range, which I don't understand how she won the role, but like. She got it. And you know what?
When
she first showed up, she was great. Like I liked her.
She looks the part.
She looks the part, and she doesn't say a lot. And so it was like, okay. And I just got a whole movie, and there's a lot for her to do. And thankfully, they knew exactly where to direct her. But you had a lot of like really smart alchemy. Like for example, your male lead of the movie, he's got to have incredible charisma.
Yep.
And Chris Pine's got it in spades, man.
Chris.
Dude sells it. Like he could. And what's amazing is he's such a giving actor.
Mm-hmm.
And I think thankfully because he had the experience in Star Trek, he could have taken the movie over just by virtue of being a man in a superhero movie.
Yeah.
Let
alone being a better actor of the two leads.
That's another problem.
Yeah.
But he doesn't. And that has a lot to do with the director and the actors. But like he is so charismatic and she is so genuinely innocent that it works and it is successful in its attempt to be not only an entry in this franchise overall, this umbrella franchise, but also being a Wonder Woman movie for people, for women specifically.
Yep.
Women haven't gotten a lot of female-led superhero movies, least of all the most iconic one in existence.
Yeah.
And it speaks to them on a level that we can't possibly understand. And I saw it firsthand in the theater. It was a theater that was primarily it was like actually just seeing Barbie, where it was like, oh, a lot of women in this theater normally than I normally see. Not that I would not normally notice that, but it was something that where I was like, I took notice because I was like, I think this is an important moment. My wife really seems to be affected by what's going on here. I'm going to take a look. And it was. And like a lot of women, like girls, old, like I saw young girls and old women and anyone from the whole spectrum. And they were all moved in the same way where they were like, we're finally getting a Superman.
Yeah.
We're finally getting a movie for us.
Yep.
And so while the movie is not perfect, it does deliver in its genuine attempt to be a superhero movie for women without it being about something. It's a it's not like this is the message of the movie. The movie is about this character doing a thing, and it just so happens that she's a woman, but also it's Wonder Woman, so it's also intimately important that she is a woman. And it's just there's something about this movie that's really important and cool, and also I give it 3.5 stars. Like it's
it's interesting. Like I for a long time, this was my favorite movie of the DCEU, and you're totally right. And we'll see a direct example of this later, but it'll surprise no one to learn that Patty Jenkins pulled a lot from the original Christopher Reeve Superman.
Yeah. Oh, to the point where like there's that great alleyway scene.
Yep. Which is better, honestly, better than
it's
the
better
alleyway
than the
scene.
one in Donner's. Yeah.
Yeah, Donner's Superman. But and I think that's something that I really like. All the stuff we've talked about so far mostly works. The part where I really like, any of the villain stuff is like real weak. But
I don't understand what it is. I've heard that Danny Houston is a good actor.
And you're waiting for the evidence.
Yeah, he's in 3 terrible. He has played 3 terrible roles in superhero movies.
Wonder Woman, the Wolverine, or no. X-Men Origins Wolverine.
Oh, I'm sorry, not superhero, comic book movies. He's also in 30 Days of Night, where he plays a moon-talking vampire.
Right.
And he's awful in that too. Like, but that movie is like a disaster. But like, I have never seen him be good.
Yeah. But back to your original point, we're lucky, unlike our first Justice League movie and our first like Green Lantern movie and our first Flash movie, we're lucky that the Wonder Woman movie, it's like, no, you could put this next to Donner's Superman and Tim Burton's Batman, and it works, and it's iconic, and it doesn't need any of the. You could cut the prologue and the epilogue that take place in the present, get rid of them, and you'd have a movie that works entirely on its own.
It's true.
Yeah. And I'll be interested once we get to 1984 to try and figure out like what happened.
A lot. I mean, part of it I think was that there was no rudder. Like I think that by 84 they were like, this universe is done.
Yeah.
At the very least, there's certainly no direction. Like we can do whatever we want, which I think they thought was freeing, but actually was like a death rattle.
Yeah. Well, I think that's definitely true by the time because I remember liking the first Aquaman, and just you mentioned that was one that made him $1 billion, whatever.
Yeah.
And then you get to the second one. I think it's like, what happened to the second one? Well, at that point, there's so many. We're done. We're done. We're moving on.
Oh my God, Shazam 2 when like.
Oh my God.
When the Peacemaker team shows up at the end to invite him to join the JSA, a team he's never been on.
Yeah.
I was like, you don't even know what the hell you're doing.
Yeah.
And they're like,
can the JSA be our Justice League? No, get out of here. You're done.
No,
you're
you
done.
can't go backwards. What are you doing?
But we're getting ahead of ourselves. We're getting to darker times right now. Right now we're on good times because we get this fight on the beach, which is mostly fine. Yeah. There is a lot of bullshit Snyder slow-mo in it. And it's like a lot of Snyder slow-mo where it's like, why are you even slowing down on this? What does slowing down in this moment do? I think one of the most egregious, and I'm using examples of people who are trying to mimic Snyder that aren't Snyder, but I do think Snyder falls in the same trap. I remember seeing the awful 300 sequel, and there was this slow-mo shot of a rope, like a big rope, like hitting the dirt. I'm like, fucking why? Like,
right.
Why
do we need to see this moment for this long?
Yeah, there's a moment where the first and I get what we're trying to do in this moment, where it's the first Amazonian that dies, she's shot, and there's the slow on the bullet to the point where almost the bullet stops right before it hits her, and it's like, fucking, she gets shot. Why? Just play the scene out. Like, what are we doing? I will say this about this fight. Robin Wright as Antiope fucking whips ass in it. Like she's
I'm so sad that she dies this movie because I was like, you're amazing. Like she needs to be all over this movie, and she's just like, because also it's just like it's nice to see Robin Wright in movies again.
Yes. Yep. Agreed.
Yeah, she's great.
Yeah, all the action stuff, like you're watching, it's like, all right, action stuff, whatever. And then Antiope shows up like, oh fuck, she fucking kicks ass. Yeah. And she kicks ass just long enough to die. So now they take Steve and we should mention, Sal just mentioned it, Chris Pine, the best Chris.
Best Chris.
Great in this movie. Like you said, he's very, I did read a thing that he originally didn't want to do it because he's like, I don't want to be just the boyfriend. But he's so, like you said, he's so generous in this role. And you need somebody kind of like Ryan Gosling and Barbie that doesn't feel the need to be like, no, this is about me.
There's no hubris. He's not The Rock.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
He's cast in Wonder Woman. He's like, the hierarchy of the DC universe is about to change because now I'm Steve Trevor.
I will say, speaking of characters that maybe you should have kept around and not killed off in this movie,
you gotta kill him. I think it's really important that Steve dies at the end, or at the very least that he's in the past. We're forgetting about 84, but
it's important. It is important in BVS and Justice League. It is important. This does make me go like, I kind of think it might have been a mistake making this a period movie, and it kind of might have been a mistake because then that forces you to kill Steve. If you said it in present day, Steve is. not only the best love interest we've gotten in the DC.
He's like the only love interest. Like,
he might be the best love interest in any of these superhero movies of this era. He might.
Yeah, absolutely.
Him or Haley Atwell, because Haley Atwell, there's a reason that we kept going back to Peggy Carter
amazing.
It was one of those. Oh, it works.
Yeah.
I also say that I do think RDJ and Gwyneth Paltrow work in a more modern relationship. They're not star-crossed lovers. It's more like, this is.
They have a great relationship. It's sweet. You rooting for them, which is what you want in any relationship in a movie.
It's not like star-crossed faded lovers or whatever, but it's how more normal people, like, we work together, we like each other, we work well together, we fall in love.
Love it.
So anyway, So they're going to go interrogate Steve. They use the lasso of truth. This does two things. One, we get a couple fun bits with the lasso of truth, which we love to do, and it also helps sell to the degree a PG-13 movie can the severity of World War I. If people are not, if you're just like World War I is just part of your history books, fucking nightmare, because it's the first modern war and a first time anything. And by modern, I mean these are people that like are used to like going from we load and I'm truncating history a lot, but like, hey, we load our guns from the front to machine gun, like people just running into machine gun fire and being made into paste by that.
Yes.
And like we had, as a society, we hadn't caught up with those innovations yet, which we touch on a little bit in this. But like, it's fucking World War I's World War II's not great either. World War I's a fucking nightmare. Anyway, so. We get the fight, we get the Oh, and this is our first introduction to Dr. Poison, who is a villain from the comics, and
a character that you don't really see ever, and this is why it's a period piece. It's because she's so well suited to this period.
Oh yeah, to your point, like that's, I don't know, this is where we introduce mustard gas, but this does touch on World War I's where we start using chemical warfare, and the reason it's banned, there's a reason why it's banned by the Geneva Convention, because it's a real it's a real fucking nightmare. But you're right, Dr. Poison's perfect for this. We also get General Ludendorff, who is a general from history, and I refer to as General Bad Guy in my notes because that's
so General Bad Guy.
Yeah,
it's absolutely.
Yeah. We did get in the super chat. Jay Sage says Wonder Woman shouldn't use a sword. The 2000s really made people think she's violent. Absolute in this movie actually used her character right. No perfect.
Not perfect, of course.
Of course. Yeah.
No, Wonder Woman can use a sword. Wonder Woman, she's a warrior woman. She knows, she's a mastery of all weaponry. She also used, in Absolute, she used a massive sword.
Yeah, it's a buster sword, basically.
It changes sizes depending on the opponent she fights. But like, it's fine. I also used to think Wonder Woman worked better without a sword. Like I was like, Wonder Woman should have a shield and a rope, and it's like, you know what? Is it because she's feminine that she shouldn't be allowed to have a aggressive weapon like a sword? Like, why am I ascribing my like concept of what Wonder Woman should be using when, I don't like the idea of Wonder Woman being a murderer. That's my issue. It's like Wonder Woman being like, I'll snap necks when people don't step up.
No,
I don't care for that. But like, for me, it's, the Wonder Woman of my time is New Frontier Wonder Woman and Absolute Wonder Woman. Those are the best Wonder Womans. Yeah.
New Frontier, man.
So
good. Just do that. Just make that movie.
Isadora Spaceman. Yeah, she's so great.
So good, dude. Totally unrelated. One of the coldest lines in that is when Bruce Wayne's threatening Martian Manhunter. Like I forget the numbers. Like I had to spend $1 million on the Rock to take out the Kryptonian. I could take you out with a matchbook. It's like, fucking damn.
He needs a penny for a book of matches. Yeah, he's amazing. I love that. I also love how Wonder Woman is like a full head taller than Superman.
Yeah, and the explanation for why Robin exists, guys. Darwin Cook's New Frontier, man, so good.
Perfection. Pick it up. Yeah, and I know there's I think there's a smaller version now, like the compact books.
Yeah,
get the deluxe.
Get the big. Oof. Anyway, sorry. So Diana finds, we've got our backstory now. Diana finds, I think we're all done with backstories at this point. Diana,
finally, forgivably.
And it's so funny too that they don't offload. You have a perfect exposition dump with Steve because he doesn't know any of this stuff,
right?
And so it's like, why did we bother with the backstory stuff earlier when we know Steve's showing up soon enough?
I wonder if maybe they did it already and then they went, it's not people are too stupid. Give it add another scene where they explain it, where they spoon feed it to the audience.
And we're definitely in like modern and super here because we talked about the alley sequence, which is a good sequence, but it definitely is like, oh, it's action scene o'clock. It's time.
At the same time, though, I do appreciate it. It like as much as I don't love the idea of movies being like setting your watch to them.
Yeah.
I do love like watching The Rock. Where
Well, and there's an alchemy, like you've mentioned, there's an alchemy to it. I think it's tough now because you have stuff like Netflix, where the movies on Netflix are very much like this happens at this time or whatever. And while there is that element here, it's an alchemy. Like you do want those. We love them. Like I love action movies. You want those beats and timing them, but you don't want it to feel perfunctory.
Exactly. You don't want it to feel like it's just routine. I remember I watched a thing yesterday about a screenwriter who was talking about the difference between novels and screenwriters and screenplays. And he was like, one of his rules was like, you don't write anything. No one says anything. No one does anything that isn't related to the plot.
In a movie?
In a movie. In a screenplay, every line has to relate to something in the movie. Whereas with a novel, a character can say something in the first 10 pages and it never harkens back or relates to anything that happens in 100 pages.
Mm-hmm.
But with a movie, it has to. Yeah. And I'm like, I don't love the hard and fast rule of that.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know what the importance of like Dante pulling the Pringles can off that guy's fist is in Clerks to the end of the movie, but like I also understand the compulsion to give young and burgeoning screenwriters that reference. Like, don't learn the rules before you break them.
Absolutely, and also that pertains more. I would say that pertains more to a blockbuster movie like this.
Yes.
Where Winona. No, sorry, everybody. Stop. My son's asleep the next door too, so I need to calm down. Anyway, we got a couple things in the super chat. Sombra Shadow 001 says, curious if you guys saw James Gunn's post about Superman 2. We have a release date of 2027, and the image he posted was Lex in a mech suit. We talked about it at the beginning of the episode. So
Scroll back to the beginning of the show.
Yeah. And then Matt Sherlock says, do you think the sequel should have been a World War II picture? The first movie's about when not to fight. Second is about when you should. Plus JSA introduction.
That would have been amazing.
It would have been cool. It would have been a little. We just did a great war. It would have been a little redundant. Although it does beg the question: what was she up to in World War?
What was she up to during World War II or the Vietnam War or any other conflict up until Doomsday?
She was sleepy. She was taking a nap.
Yeah, I like the idea of her being like a covert ops, like less wonder, more just like secret agent kind of thing.
Yeah, and I wonder. Well, and you have you can pull from the white costume era where like they tried to the mod suit she had.
I promise you the reason why that why it's set in World War One in the first one and why there is no World War II in the second one is because of Captain America.
100%.
That's it.
100. Yeah, 100%. I did have a moment where they're recruiting. We're not there yet, but when Steve is recruiting his boys, I was like, could this have been Sergeant Rock and the Easy Company? Would that have been or the Losers? I know there's a very famously World War II guys, but it's like.
You're not going to make one.
Yeah.
You're never going to make a Sergeant Rock movie. Come on.
Yeah, I feel like it could have been cool. It would have been cool if there was somebody. It would, but again, it's probably the same thing because Captain America did Howling Commandos. It's like, nope. These have to be nobodies.
Yeah. Also, as a quick shout out regarding, just not doing the thing and how frustrating it is, why is Nick Fury the age that Samuel L. Jackson is? Why isn't he taking the Infinity Formula? Nick Fury should have been in the Captain America First Avenger.
That would have been cool. I was also a big proponent of, I liked the idea of, take that old James Bond fan theory where Nick Fury's a code name.
Yeah.
And so Samuel L. Jackson is modern Nick Fury. And then you have World War II Nick Fury, who had the code name. And then I would have cast, granted he ended up in the MCU anyway, I would have cast Kurt Russell. Because then he doesn't. Classic World War II, Nick Fury doesn't have the eye patch, but that's Snake Plissken. I can see this guy with the eye patch. I know. But whatever, man. Awesome. Whatever. So we learn in this little healing bath sequence that he's like, "Whoa, why do you guys speak English so well?" And she's like, "We know hundreds of languages," which is a little weird because it sounds like you guys were shoved off on this island in antiquity.
Yeah, well, don't they have like magic portals they can see the world in and stuff like that? Like, I'll take it. I don't care. Sure. Yeah, I like it because it's delivered with this earnestness. Like, hand wavy explanations are always going to be that, but but sometimes a great line delivered by a great actor can work.
Can make it work.
You know?
And sometimes a good, decent line
can be ruined by a bad actor.
Delivered by a fine actor is like, oh, that's fine, I'll take it.
It's unmemorable, certainly.
Yeah. So we get a whole Diana decided talking to Steve. She's like, all right, I got to go out and she's believes,
itching for a fight. She can't wait to leave.
Yeah. She's like, this war is clearly Ares. We got to stop Ares. I got to go.
Yeah.
And we get a fun and game sequence where she kind of discovers her powers as she breaks in and takes the sword and a shield. The shield is nothing, by the way. We don't get a backstory on the shield. A sword and a shield and the lasso of truth. And she gets her classic armor. And basically her and Steve go. Hippolyta leaves her with these last words: "You are my greatest love, and today you are my greatest sorrow," which is fucking hard. That's a hard one. And she also lays this on her, like, if you leave, you can never come back. And if I'm Diana, like, well, hold on, when was that rule established?
Oh, is that new, or are you just punishing me? Also, I like it though because it is part of the Wonder Woman mythos, or at the very least something. I like it a lot. I like this. I like these scenes. Everything up until the Ares reveal is really solid.
It's not even for me. It's like, and I'm going to skip over them, but because we keep coming back to General Bad Guy and Dr. Poison. Each one of those scenes is like cartoonish and weird and bad.
It is. But and if we had, I wonder if there was a way to like dial them up a little bit and make them more like a Flash Gordon-y kind of sequence, like where it's like Dr. Poison, I have to do this. You know what I mean? Like some kind of. I mean, the fact that her name is Dr. Poison, or they call her that.
They call her that.
The actor who plays her is really good.
You know how you do that, Sal, is instead of Danny Houston, you cast Nicolas Cage. You say you are General Bad Guy.
You are a German general, and I want you to do no German accent whatsoever.
Yes. Here's the thing that I was going to touch on later, but maybe this is a good time. I kind of think in a movie, just like you said, the rule you said about like everything has to tie back to the plot, mostly applies specifically to blockbusters like this. I think also with blockbusters like this, I think the villain fake out is something these movies are not equipped to do well, because I thought about, I was watching this and it made me think about the villain fake out in Far From Home, which works when you're watching for the first time,
but never works again.
Yeah, when you're watching again, it's like, wow, so like every scene with Mysterio up until the reveal is pointless. It doesn't reveal anything about his character.
But also, like, you knew when you saw the movie, you were like, I know he's faking. Like,
but it makes all those scenes. You're 100% right.
See, I thought you were. When you said Far From Home, I thought you meant the first one, the Homecoming movie, because like that reveal.
Yeah, the
also
reveal,
had a villain reveal.
Yeah, the villain reveal is cool, but I'm talking about. But when you spent time with Adrian Toomes, you got to know Adrian Toomes. It's similar with the villain fake out on Iron Man 3, right?
Yeah.
I feel like all it does is undercut whoever your main antagonist is, because you didn't get to spend time with them and get to understand
why they do the things.
And to your point with Far From Home, you're like, well, but we spent all that time with Quentin Beck. Yeah, but because he
was being someone else. He was
being somebody else.
Yeah.
And it turns out nothing about that. I think a better way to have written that stuff is he's lying, but it does still say something about him as a character. It doesn't do that. Those scenes are functionally pointless.
Yes.
When you rewatch the movie, because they don't reveal anything about the character. Similar with this, we spend so much time with, and I think the creators know, well, this is a fake out villain. I understand that, but what it does is it makes this villain perfunctory, and it makes our final villain toothless. Like, I don't know anything about him or care about him.
Well, because unfortunately, like, the real villain is the god of war Ares. So it's like, well, how am I ever going to know him? And but again, you're given everything they want you to have. He wants to start wars. He's having a great time. Humanity's making it easy for him. Like, as far as what he wants, loves, and needs, who gives a shit? When it comes to Far From Home, and Mysterio, it's like, he's mad.
Yeah.
That's it. He's mad that he stole his technology and nicknamed it Barf, and he can't get his revenge. So he'll take his revenge on the legacy. Okay, that's enough. And it's not deep. It's certainly not Vulture. Whose name is what his job is in the real world.
Yes. Yeah. Well, and I think not to do this movie's work for it. I wondered if maybe a more interesting way if you wanted the fake out, is have a series of characters that Wonder Woman runs into throughout the movie.
And they're all him.
And they're all supportive. They're like, no, we support this. But did you think about this? And they kind of slowly undercut. And like you said, you eventually realize, like, no, that was him showing up throughout the movie to feed his perspective, to seed that doubt in Diana.
Yeah.
Whatever. My point is, all the scenes with like Danny Hughes and Dr. Poison are like real goofy and dumb.
They are goofy and dumb, but also, I think they want that. I think they're chasing Captain America, the first Avenger, which is like, again, it's made by the dude who made The Rocketeer. It's gonna be silly and fun, but like it's it's a movie about World War II, and there isn't a single reference to the Holocaust.
Yeah.
How do you square that circle? They did. You know, like that's kind of amazing.
Well, and to your point, because it's like we're talking about somebody that's making chemical warfare, but we're having goofy, fun yuck-em-ups with that. Matt
but
Sherlock.
She's meant to be grave and scary, at least, you know.
Yeah. Matt Sherlock. You could have Black Canary as her love interest in a World War II Wonder Woman movie. They would never do that.
They would never have done that.
Would never do that.
But they could have put Black Widow. I mean, like Black Canary in that movie. Like, I mean,
to that point, very clearly, there's this one other Amazonian that Antiope, Robin Wright's character, always shows up with, and is really heartbroken when she dies.
That's
clearly supposed to be in a relationship. We never see them smooch. We never get that confirmed. I don't even think that character gets a name.
Right? I'm sure that it was cut. I'm sure that like when Patty Jenkins making, she's like, this is gonna be great. It's gonna be we're not just making a movie for women. We're making a movie for lesbians. And it's like Zack Snyder and company were like, nope. Hey, this is playing in Utah, right?
Yeah. So they set sail. We get a lovely scene. Pretty much any scene with Diana and Steve is some of the best stuff in the movie.
It's so
good. So we get a whole birds and the bees conversation on the boat. They end up waking up. It's great. I don't mean to gloss over it, but we are running.
We're running along. I'm sorry. Yeah, we talked about Spider-Man. That fucked everything up.
But yeah. So it's it. But what were you gonna say? It's a great sequence. Yeah. And they wake up in London, which makes me have some questions about where exactly Themyscira is located.
It's like the gargoyles on the gondola. Like, they go through the mist of Avalon, they're in another place.
Yeah. That would be cool. I like that. And so now we're in London, and Diana thinks it sucks. She doesn't like it.
And it's great how ugly and terrible it is. I love it.
She gets a cool moment where she sees a baby. I like how excited she gets. I like that little, because there aren't babies on Themyscira. So
I think that's really sweet. That was it's better than putting the ice cream sequence in there. From Jeff Johns, which I think was fun when I first saw it, and I don't care about now. The baby thing is way better.
Yeah. We meet Steve Trevor's secretary, Etta Candy. So this is played by Lucy Davis. This is Etta Candy. She's a classic Wonder Woman character. It's our first appearance in a movie.
Yep.
And
Lucy Davis is great. She's in Shirley Good Adventures of Sabrina. She's in Shaun of the Dead. I think she's in Spaced.
I think she was in the original Office, the British Office.
She was in the Office. She's great. She was perfectly cast. She's delightful. She I remember everyone locked into that movie the second that the fight scene happened. But she came in, people were like, "Oh, I have permission to have fun."
Yeah. I have a question for you, Sal. Do spies have secretaries traditionally?
I wonder why they would. I mean, it is seen. I mean, I'm sure they have a lot of paperwork, but at the same time, there is a kind of secrecy element that is at play.
Yeah. And that makes me think, Moneypenny's not James Bond's secretary. She works for M, I believe.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we get a whole shopping, changing clothes sequence. They need her to blend in when she's, a fucking Amazon. She's clearly a fucking Amazon.
Yeah.
They, on the way away from this, Steve and Diana are quartered by some Germans. This is clearly, Silent, I've already mentioned this. This is clearly an homage to the alley sequence in Superman. I'd argue it's better. This is our first time seeing her use her places. It's to block bullets, which is cool. It's a cool little moment. Steve takes Diana to meet Remus Lupin, David Thewlis, who, spoilers, is Ares. His name in the movie is Sir Patrick Morgan. Who gives a shit?
Yep.
And we find out Dr. Poison's journal is written Ottoman and Sumerian. Why? I don't fucking know. It's an excuse because we've established Diana knows a bunch of languages, and we're going to keep coming back to that. And the generals, so there's a big meeting of generals, right? And they do what generals do in these movies where they obstruct our heroes from doing the heroic thing. They're like, no, we're going to sign a treaty. And our heroes are like, boo treaty.
Yep.
We need to call to action, do hero shit. And this is where Steve is going to disobey orders like the classic rogue hero he is.
Of course.
And we get his group of guys whose names I can't remember, but they're all fun and likable.
Sure. I like them more than the Howling Commandos. I like the Howling Commandos, but I don't get enough time with them. These guys, they're all fun and great.
They're all fun and great. It's Sammy, Chief, and
the rest.
The other guy. Yes. PTSD sniper guy.
Oh, yeah, poor guy. Oh, well.
Yeah.
The one who never gets an arc. The one who never gets to do anything.
Yeah, I do like them better than the Howling Commandos. Whenever I think about First Avenger and the Howling Commandos, I think, I want Nick Fury here. Anyway, we're at the train station. They're going off to the front. We get Ice Cream Guy, which Sal just mentioned. The other thing I think is worth mentioning here is there's a lot of shots of people going off to the war, and it's very pointedly not just white guys. Unlike a movie like Dunkirk, where they're like, it was just the white guys that did this. Patty Jenkins wants you to know, like, actually, a lot of different types of people fought in this war, specifically for the British Empire. And so we see a lot of a diverse coalition of soldiers, which I think is a very point. It's intentional on the part of the filmmakers, and I think it's a smart inclusion.
Agreed.
We get more general bad guy stuff. He's also Boo Armistice. Fortunately, in the real world, a German resenting losing World War I will not be an issue that we have to contend with. Bloodthirsty German that's really pissed off that they're going to lose World War I isn't going to be a problem moving forward. Mm-hmm. And now we meet Chief. He's their smuggler, and now Diana's seeing a very PG-13 version of the horrors of the front. People fleeing the German line.
Yeah.
We're really leaning on Diana's empathy.
Yes.
Because it's like, why are they hitting the horses? I'm like, well, they need to go fast, but they need to get out of here. Then we get to the trenches. And basically she's like, hey, why don't you all just run in? And Steve Trevor's like, well, these things called machine guns. Okay. So
we'll die. I love how quick this goes. Mm-hmm. Like, not this scene, but to get to the scene.
Yes.
Like, we hit the beats, we do the cute, like, fun and games dress sequence, and we're just moving on. Like, just let's go.
Yeah. And we get to what I would argue, I want to know your thoughts, Sal, what I would argue is easily the best sequence in the movie, which is the No Man's Land sequence.
It is the most iconic sequence in the DCEU.
Yeah, that is true. Let us know in the comments. Can you think of a more iconic DCU moment than the No Man's Land sequence? No, I think you're right.
No, it is. It's with the music swell, with the tight shots of her climbing the ladder. There's a line that somebody says. I think it's like she's gonna do it or something like that. It's such a it is exactly what there should be more of in this universe, in superhero movies. Like, this is a movie that shows you, the impossible and set against like a real thing. It's amazing.
Yeah. And I think this shows the argument of, so when the DCEU was conceived, they were coming off the heat of the Dark Knight, so they're like dark and gritty, and that meant like edgelord shit. Yes. And I think Wonder Woman is a good example of like what you could have done to differentiate yourself from the Marvel is the mythic, epic, iconic, that type of, because DC lends itself to that more. Characters like Wonder Woman and Superman lend themselves to that more. It's like, this is what you should have been chasing, is shit like this.
Well, and what's funny is how successful Marvel Cinematic has been at that, where they were like Captain America, like standing up against Thanos, which is a moment ripped straight out of the comic books. It's played to less effect. It's a cool moment in the book, but also is immediately undercut by the fact that like Adam Warlock is the most important person in that book. Which, like, why would anyone care? But like in this, it's like, it's Wonder Woman. It's the first greatest female superhero. Look at her stand against an army of men.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And they know, and obviously the filmmakers knew that this was going to be the standout sequence, because this is our first time where she's in her full, because after she leaves the island, she's wearing this like shawl thing.
Yeah.
She gets rid of it. She's wearing the Wonder Woman costume. So this is Wonder Woman's debut in the world. And she does. It is funny because they do, and we do this a lot in genre media with the hero being like, well, obviously we need to go just head on and fight this thing. It's like, lady, we don't have superpowers. All right.
Exactly.
Don't come at me like I'm the bad guy because I would get machine gunned to death in this situation. Yeah. Sorry, I'm not you. But it's not just a Wonder Woman with every, like, the guy with godlike powers is like, why don't you just go at him head on? It's like, fucking, why do you think, dude? But yeah, so she goes out there, she starts drawing all the machine gun fire. It's a great moment. She's blocking bolts with bracelets. She has her shield. It's dope. Because she's drawing the fire, Steve and the other guys run out. Steve starts clipping guys with his shotgun like a mile away.
I love it. He just gets the trench. Boom! You see, like, you don't see the guy like explode, but like, there's no sugarcoating it. Like, you know, even in Captain America, they're shooting like blue lasers at people, and they're evaporating into dust. It's like, no, those are teleporters. You know, because they are using the cosmic cube. No, they're being sent to, like, you know, planets and stuff. I don't know. It's they're just shooting the shit out of people.
I would love if there's some planet with a colony of Hydra people that's like, I got shot with the blue laser, so now I live here now, I guess. So she does that, and that sequence is great. I think the better action set pieces once we leave No Man's Land and we get into the village, and she starts taking guys out. She's leaping the building. It's cool. It's cool stuff. And you know, she's joined, and there's just a lot of really great moments. Like, she's running on a roof, and we see Steve running on the ground next to her. It's great. I think one of the best Steve moments in this, because it does a couple things. One, it cements that, like, this is a Wonder Woman movie. Steve's the supporting character, but he's a good supporting character, and he's a good love interest because he pays attention to stuff around her.
That's right. Yes.
Because they have a sniper. Their sniper guy is PTSD to shit. He can't get sniper guy.
He's useless. Yeah.
So we love him. He's a good singer, but he's useless.
But he should go home.
He should really go home. So Steve keyed into, there was a moment where Antiope had another Amazon use a shield to help her leap into the air. So gets the guys. He's like, grab onto the side of a tank or whatever. And when I say go, we're going to push. And he looks at Diana. He's like, shield. And she clocks like, oh, this thing. And so they together help push her up to take out Sniper Guy. It's a cool moment. There's
a moment where she flips a tank.
Yeah.
She should have picked it up.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we get later.
A nice wide shot of her picking up the tank.
Yeah. We get a moment with that later. She was about ready to crush Dr. Poison with.
Yeah. But that's where that is.
Yeah, exactly. So I agree with you. It would have been cool to have. That would have been cool. Yeah. Have it earlier.
I also like the effect on the lasso. We didn't really talk about the lasso and how, like, cool it is, but, like, I love it. I think it's great that, like, it's not just used to elicit truth. It's also like a whip.
Yeah,
I like how it glows. You know?
Yeah, I feel like we could have in a different time, because I read through all the different, like, there's the Joss Whedon version and whatever. There's going to be a version with Sandra Bullock, yada yada yada. Yeah. And I feel like if we'd gotten it at an earlier time, we might have been afraid to do the lasso of truth. Right. And I'm glad they didn't avoid it. Like, I'm glad we're like, no, this is important to Wonder Woman. We're not going to.
Yeah. No, it's cool. It is cool, and like, let me show you why it's cool. I mean, like, that's the thing about this movie is it's not afraid of its protagonist. Like, there are so many Batman movies where, like, I'm sorry, we have to make a Batman movie. Yeah. I hate him so much. Here's Mr. Freeze. Okay, he'll have more lines. This is like, we're making a Wonder Woman movie. Let's not be ashamed. Warner Brothers is very bad at this, where they're like, we are ashamed of the characters we have to make movies about unless they're called Harry Potter. Yeah. And unfortunately, we're not dealing with that with Wonder Woman, which again, I think goes back to that alchemy thing. I think it's one of those, like, we dodged a lot of bullets, I think. Yeah, big time.
In the super chat, Max Sherlock, the general is real, a founder of the Nazis. Spoiler, he's not in this universe. And
also, he's played by an actor who doesn't do anything interesting or fun with the role.
We're going to get into this more. There's a whole sequence where they have to infiltrate a German castle, a German Gala, and it's like, this is like 4 or 5 years after Inglourious Bastards, and we're still doing that. Nah, put on the costume, do an accent, and it'll be fine. Oh man, Matt Sherlock says the German general. Wait,
he said that already.
Said that. Oh, sorry, I already did that one.
No, he.
Wait, no, this is a different one. German general was a real person found and obsessed with North Smith, who pursued beer hall. Cool. Yes.
Great.
I also think I mentioned that he was a real person when I first brought him up, but yes, he is a real person. Yeah,
that's
great.
It.
Great. So Yeah.
Oh.
So now we get another little sweet sequence where everybody in the town's celebrating. Turns out a little premature. Spoilers.
Yeah.
And
Scene, though.
yeah, and it's a great scene where Diana and Steve dance, and we build up to them making love, and it's very
Yeah.
well done. It's a very well
It-
orchestrated scene.
It's unexpectedly well done. By this point, you do expect it, but I was like, boy, they really just did that. Okay, like we're gonna do that. Like we're just gonna go there, and yeah, we're gonna do that. And it could have been very. It could have been done less tastefully.
100%. And I don't know that this is true, but I do think it's one of those like, yeah, this is why you hire a woman director for this movie, because they're going to be able to do that just right. It's one of those like, yeah, that's just right. You did it. You did it within just the right amount of grace.
And then they'll do it real wrong in the sequel.
Yeah. Also, if anybody is an enjoyer of period piece epics, you also know this is a death sentence for Steve. Like this is
it's
Steve got laid. Steve got laid. He's not making it out of the movie.
Right. Normally, if it weren't Wonder Woman, she'd also be pregnant.
Yes. Wait. I don't know if you Sal's watched this, but there's a piece of media that was like, oh, even you guys are gonna do this? All right. How you were better than, and I'm not against it. It's just very tropey. But
yeah,
Sal's 1,000% right. If it wasn't Wonder Woman, she would have been fucking pregnant.
That's where it's like, yeah, because that's the movie equivalent of the male lead, like Trojan horsing themselves.
yeah. They get to live on or whatever.
Yeah.
So fucking funny. And it's the first time. All right. Anyway, but fortunately that's not the situation here that we know of. I mean, she's been around. I mean, their kid could have been like, what, 70 in 1984.
Yeah, and half magic too, so yeah, whatever.
That's true. Maybe he wouldn't have aged. Exactly. So now we get to the whole like we get a whole Gala sequence where they need to sneak in to this German Gala for reasons that are unclear. It's just to get close to, it's more general bad guy stuff and Dr. Poison stuff, and theoretically to have put our heroes within proximity of the villains. But as I mentioned earlier, they're not the real villains, so it's technically pointless. I don't care about Diana's relationship to General Ludendorff. It doesn't fucking matter to the movie.
No, I don't care at all.
Yeah.
I remember in the Gala sequence where she's wearing that outfit and then she takes out the God Killer.
Yeah.
I love that like someone did like a drawing of where the sword must be.
Yeah,
she's like holding it between her butt cheeks.
Yes,
I'm like, I don't think about those things. I don't care.
But it is fun. I remember when I was first watching it, I was like, oh yeah, it's tucked back there. That's cool. And then this time, I guess because it's a more detailed viewing, it's like, nobody's like, wait a second, what's going on there?
What's happening here? Well, they're all just so distracted by how beautiful she is.
I get it. Listen, I get it. And also, but again, we're also in a movie where again, like Steve gets in the Gala by having Sammy be his driver and pretend he lost the invitation. I'm like, again, Inglourious Basterds just detonated
right on the heels of this movie. It's so true. I was like, I also it made me think of it, but I also was like, man, that was such a great movie.
Yeah. And and again, like a lot of movies I love do this. One of my favorite movies of all time, The Dirty Dozen, does the same, like put on the uniform, do the accent, you're good to go. But it's just interesting. To me, it's like the fact if you watch like Bohemian Rhapsody or any other like music biopic on the heels of Dewey Cox, Walk Hard, Dewey Cox, you're like, wait, that movie detonated this entire genre, and we're still doing all of the tropes. Like,
well, it's not like we're gonna stop doing it just because they made fun of us for it. Like,
I guess so, but it's like Inglourious Basterds. It's one of those like there's so much attention to detail about not just speaking German, but you have to. People are going to ask you about your accent, and you have to have a backstory for that. And it's like you literally can't just sneak in. Like, no. Anyway, Inglourious Basterds is a good movie. Go check it out.
Yeah, if you haven't already.
Yeah, he just said again that he thinks that was his masterpiece. I don't know that I agree with that.
I do agree with that.
It's a good movie. I don't think it's my favorite of his. I actually think Once Upon a Time in Hollywood might edge it out, but
yeah, well, you're a Hollywood guy.
Also, like, I don't know. I still think Jack Brown's
I think it's a little less
hilarious.
self-indulgent than Hateful Eight, but Hateful Eight I think was a better show than a movie. Like
Yeah,
that Netflix thing they did, that was cool.
yeah, Hateful Eight. I have a lot of affection for Hateful Eight because for my birthday, a friend of mine took me to when they were doing the reading, and so I have the book. I do think that might be his weakest movie, Hateful Eight. You're right, it is. Hateful Eight's a bit indulgent. Anyway, sorry for the Tarantino tangent, everybody. This all builds to they're testing out this new chemical weapon Dr. Poison made. They use it on the village they just saved, which is fucking brutal. Like the way it's depicted in the movie isn't, but like the implications, like that sucks.
Yes.
That's really bad. So this is just we get a falling out between Steve and Diana. She goes to go take out Ludendorff. And this basically, I glossed over the fact that Dr. Poison made Ludendorff a fucking capsule that gives him super strength.
Oh yeah.
Just so Diana can fight him in a fight scene that's fine. It's very fine, mediocre, fine.
Yep, totally fine.
She kills Ludendorff, and she thinks that this is it, right? Once I kill Ares, we're and it's so funny how they play this because she kills Ludendorff, and so she's like, everything should be fine now. And this leads to a moment of Steve having to explain to her, like, I don't know how to tell you, but people kind of suck on their own.
Yeah, exactly.
But also, she didn't kill Ares, so theoretically, she could still be right.
Yeah. Oh no, yeah, exactly. We have to do that too, where it's like, listen, it's humans are just bad, and this is a problem. And then it's like, but also Ares.
Ares is still around doing shenanigans. So Steve goes off to try and take care of there's a whole bomber with poison on it that they have to take care of, and that's Steve's mission for the final act. Diana's still on this, like, it's a guard tower where she killed Ludendorff, and then Lupin shows back up, David Thewlis, and it turns out, aha, I actually am Ares. If you may recall, this movie's not out yet, but if you recall from the flashback in Justice League, I fucking almost killed Darkseid, so I'm actually a pretty big deal.
Yeah.
I almost fucking chopped Darkseid in half, you bitches. It's classic Satan. It's classic devil shit. He's like, actually, I just give humanity. I give them
nudge.
I give them nudge. I give them ideas for stuff. I don't tell them to use it. They're bad on their own. I think there shouldn't be humanity. The world was better off without them.
Like, what? What is your motivation here? What? Also, you're just like, and you could feel like that. Like Lupin is just like, he's like, what?
Yeah. It's
like, oh, I guess I know how to do this. Like,
Yeah.
Okay.
He's like, I didn't know half the shit I was talking about in Harry Potter either, and people seem to like that. So, whatever, man. I can do this shit. Whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. It's not great. It's not great. It gets back into these genre movies love to bring out, especially when the fucking superhero era, love to bring out like gods and deities and yada yada yadas.
Yeah.
And it's tough because they never really spend the time to think about, what does a god mean in this universe? When you have a world of Superman and stuff like that, what is God just? And this is where they seem to land. God is just a really strong person. Yeah. And it's like, I like it more when people that's different. Being a god is a different thing than just being really powerful.
Right.
You represent certain things. Like, I think, I know Neil Gaiman is allegedly a very bad person, but American Gods and Sandman did a good job with these concepts.
Yes. They're not just people who got powers and lived long enough.
Yeah.
They are different. They're
different. Yeah, and it's just because you get into this. I think a more egregious example of this is Thor, where it's like, so Asgard, Thor is basically an alien, but there's also Asgardians that are just people, like just farmers and shit.
Right? Like,
so
what?
Are they gods? What is the rule?
Oh no, Thor says it out loud. He says, "We're not gods. We just, we just live longer."
So if just some random farmer, I actually think the current Moon Knight run is doing something with this. So if just some farmer from Asgard shows up on Earth, he could just be a god because he's super strong.
Yeah, he's the god of the harvest.
Sure, cool. All right. Anyway, I just put a little more work in. I just for me that would be cool. Anyway, whatever. He's trying to tempt Diana. They get into a big fight where they throw stuff at each other. They basically throw pieces of tanks and shit at each other.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, fucking Steve and the boys are. Yeah, you just really yada yada. Steve's trying to stop the bombs. Diana's fighting Ares. Ares is trying to tempt her into whatever. They do a really cool moment where Ares blows up a bunch of bombs in Diana's face. And so then Steve comes up to give her his last words and she doesn't hear it.
Yes,
and
I like that a lot.
Yeah, part of me wishes they kept that. That like
we never know.
She like later she remembers what he says. She could be imagining it. It could be what she thinks he said. But I kind of like it if like, no, you didn't get to hear Steve's last words. That's forever now. But yeah, so she doesn't hear Steve's last words, and he goes to fly off to blow up because what we established is this super gas, this super mustard gas, or whatever the fuck it is. If they detonate it on the ground, it'll kill everybody within like a 50 mile, however many mile radius.
It's a lot.
Yeah, so he needs to take up in the air and blow it up. They do some shenanigans. They do hedge their bets a little bit because we see Steve. It's actually Chris Pine's a good actor, and Patty Jenkins is a good director. So this moment where he's like on the plane and you see him accept his fate, and then he looks back at the things and we find out they're super flammable, and he pulls out his gun. But then we cut away to Diana's POV and it blows up, and I'm like, Zeus could have swooped it. You could come up with some excuse where some other tricky god swooped in and grabbed him last minute.
Oh, I like that. Yeah,
that's not
Hermes
what we did,
grabs him or something.
You could have done that. Truthfully, man, I'm kind of surprised we didn't like. No, Zeus is the villain of the second one, and actually, he also sucks. Like,
that would have been great. Yeah,
but whatever. That's not what we ended up doing. But they left room for it. They realized, like, oh no, I wonder. We talked about it a little bit, but I know again, reading that MCU book, they talked a lot about like Feige was trying to tell him, like, don't kill Gwen Stacy. Her and Andrew Garfield are the best part of that relationship.
They are
movies, and it's like, I hear you, but also you need to kill Gwen Stacy. So it's the same thing with Steve. It's like, what made this movie work is Diana and Steve, but Steve needs to not be around.
Yeah, it works too well. Like, it's true. You know, the best thing about Spider-Man 2, Amazing Spider-Man 2, is how brave they are that they killed her.
Yeah.
I was like, I can't believe that they did that.
Yeah.
Now I knew when he was like, "We're leaving for London," I'm like, "Oh, she did."
Yeah. It's just like Steve getting laid in this movie. It's like, well, he's not making it out of this. Anyway, yeah. So he gets blowed up. This Diana goes. If anybody that's played God of War, when you hit the 2 sticks and Kratos goes into his rage mode, that's what happens to Diana here. She starts knocking fools all over the place. And Ares is like, yeah. He's like amped on it. He's like that Jack Nicholson meme. Like yeah.
Yes.
And she picks up a huge tank and is about ready to crush Dr. Poison. I don't know.
That's great. That was great. Yes.
Yeah,
that's what I'm thinking of. Yeah.
Yeah. And so she's got it, and she's like, no. She throws it away. No. And a big running theme is like, humanity doesn't deserve you. Interestingly, this is the same theme of Man of Steel. Like, does humanity deserve saving?
Right. This movie is like the opposite of that, though, where they're like, yes.
Yeah. Yes. Exactly. And she says this line, and I want to know if you can help me parse it. Where she's like, "It's not about deserve; it's about what you believe."
What does that mean?
I believe in love, and I'm like, what are you saying? Like,
right. What? I guess it's just like, maybe they don't deserve it, but I still love them.
Yeah.
It's like God, like, or God's like, you fucked up, and I drowned you, and you killed my son and stuff, but like, I still love you technically according to the book.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like Diana's like, yes, you don't deserve it, but I love you anyway. I guess that's the lesson.
Yeah.
Kind of nice.
It feels. I know Jeff Johns did a pass on this.
It's also condescending.
Yeah. He did a pass on this, and I know he made, when all the Justice League people got different rings, Diana got the love ring, and so this feels like that. Like, yeah, she's about love. Yeah, I understand. This goes back to the God stuff, but on practical nuts and bolts terms, what does that mean? Like, what is that like? It's like Fast and Furious rules, the power of family. Sure.
Yeah, like,
sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, so she decides, she does the heroic thing. She's like, no. And then how does she kill Ares? I don't even, because he starts throwing lightning at her, which is a Zeus move, but whatever. And she starts storing in her bracelets, and then she does the bracelets move, and then it evaporates. She just dissolves fucking Ares.
Yeah.
The end, we get like a little sequence where they come home and there's like a wall of our fallen heroes, which for World War I, that thing should have been like fucking the Eiffel Tower, man. Like, it should have been paper with all the people. They give the numbers like 2 fucking, it's
It's a lot.
It's a lot of people died in World War One. It's stupid for stupid
really
reasons.
stupid
No fucking reason. Anyway, and then we get our denouement, which is in the present day. She thanks Bruce for the picture, and then this was another one that I was watching. I'm like, wait, what just happened? It seems like he hears something outside, and she's like, Wonder Woman time, but I don't know what it was.
I think it was like a siren or something. I don't know. Okay,
and then she jumps at the screen, which here's the thing, gang. This is cheesy. Her jumping at the screen is cheesy, but I also feel like every DC superhero in their first movie should have this moment. Superman, Donner Superman has it. This is a thing we should do.
Raimi Spider-Man does it every time.
Yeah,
except the third one.
Green Lantern comes at the screen. Wonder Woman comes at the screen. Like we should. Flash comes. This is how, like, because it makes it feel like iconic and epic and like.
Yeah, like it's it's like, it reminds me of like the Blue Beetle movie, where I don't mind that movie at all. I saw it in theaters. Me and two other people saw it, and it was nice. Like, and it was fun. People were like, it's very run of the mill. It's like it was the best superhero movie of 2006. And but you know what? There's no Spider-Man for people like Jaime Reyes.
Yeah.
Like, they're like, it's like Iron Man meets Spider-Man. I've seen it before. And I'm like, yes, you have. You know who hasn't? Them.
Yeah, 100%.
And same with Wonder Woman, like jumping at the screen. Like, she never got that. They didn't get that.
It feels like a signature. It feels like, and I think DC, and the reason I specifically said DC as opposed to Marvel is DC kind of lends itself to that mythic sign off of like, this is all you need is that last shot of the character, because that's how iconic this character is.
Yeah, exactly.
You have t-shirts with their logo on it. You know who this is.
Yes.
And just to go off your Blue Beetle thing, I also really like Blue Beetle. My favorite part of Blue Beetle was my wife went to see it with me, and she's Hispanic. And typically those movies are me leaning over like, okay, so what this means is that movie had so many cultural touchstones on Latin culture that she was leaning over to me. So it's like, okay, so the show they're watching is this. I'm like, that's dope. That's really fun. Cool.
No, it is really cool. And folks, you should see it because I think he's going to be in the DCU.
Which is so smart because that movie, and I think they knew. I think because that one of the other ones, you could kind of feel like James Gunn coming in and going like, okay, cut every real reference you have to the main DCU because this is workable. I can pull this actor and this character and use him.
Yeah, I could even leave in the mystery of where Ted Kord is.
Because you can tell there was a lot of rumors that Jason Sudeikis was cast, and I feel like that was true. And then they pivoted, like, don't reveal that just yet.
We might want to hang up. We might not use that for another 10 years, but it will still pay off.
Yeah, and James Gunn just mentioned, because there's that scene in Creature Commandos where we see Justice League members dead, and somebody pointed out, like, that looks like the Blue Beetle from the movie. He's like, yeah. You're right. It does.
It does look like that. Yeah. It's on purpose. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that would be smart of them. We got some more in the super chat. Matt Sherlock, what would you do for a Green Arrow movie? I would love to have Star City be a solar punk dystopia filled with green tech core and forest to make it different. I think I'm going to throw this out there. I think solar punk and dystopia are mutually exclusive. I think solar punk means good job. We kind of avoided. I guess maybe dystopia happened and now we're solar punking it out of the dystopia. Yeah. I don't know about you, Sal. I would kind of pitch it as Green Arrow is West Coast Batman.
Yeah.
Batman's East Coast. So all that vibe. Green Arrow is West Coast. So a very different vibe and energy. And just like if you had East Coast and West Coast people that are maybe upper class running into each other, they would have different reference points and different ways of viewing the world.
Yeah, I think so. I would like. I don't want Green Arrow to just be Green Batman.
Yeah,
like he needs to have a very different attitude. I'd go with the guy from the Justice League cartoon. That version of him.
Yeah,
so fun.
Yeah. Well, and they fuck. We don't need to get off on this, but something they did so smart about that cartoon is theoretically Batman should be your street level character, except he's fucking Batman. He's the most popular character in the DCU.
So he's never going to be. Like, you could get away with it, but like you're not going to, especially if you're in a bigger, richer DC universe where there's plenty of other ones.
Yeah, and so they make Green Arrow is like our normal guy, our normal guy in the Justice League, and he's the one that gets to call them on their shit. And it's such a good use of the character. There's a new comic coming out that's Batman, Green Arrow, and the Question, and it's like, you could take I know this is the sell a book. You could take the Batman off of that If you just did a Green Arrow question comic, I'm buying that fucking comic.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's true.
Okay. Nat reads, excuse me. I watched this with my dad back in the day. Fun day. Yeah, I bet that was awesome. That was a fun little watch. Matt Sherlock. I also would make Oliver a Ren Fair nerd again to make him different from Bruce and Tony. Plus, it would have a Robin Hood fixation, archery skill. I think the way I'd explain the archery stuff is you live in a world with a Ray Palmer.
Yeah.
And you have shrink tech, and it's like, yeah, the arrow's a good way to precisely release a payload. Bullets move too fast. An arrow, I can like launch this, and it can become a net, and it can become a boxing glove because
a boxing glove, yeah.
You know, shrinking tech exists, and it's a good way. It's a more precise way to release this tech or whatever.
I like
but you also have the excuse he lived on that island and he used a bow and arrow to do that. Like, I don't know that you need to tune the weeds on it. Like,
it ain't broke.
Yeah. Green Arrow is another one that I would pump the brakes on because we had Arrow for 8 seasons, and so I don't know. And that's for most people that is Green Arrow. So I don't know.
But you had Arrow for 8 seasons, but if he just shows up looking like effing Robin Hood, you've already saved us from that show.
I think this rumor has been disproven, but there were rumors that Garrett Dillahunt, who's in the new Lantern show, was Oliver Queen. It's like that's a reason to bring in Oliver. If I can see Green Arrow hang out with Green Lantern, that's the reason to do it.
I feel like if ever that was going to happen, it will because of Gunn. Because Gunn's like, 100%. Hard traveling heroes. I'm going to use that. Yeah.
Yeah. Do that, please, and thank you. I still don't know. I feel like you and I have talked about this. Nathan Fillion's going to show up as Guy Gardner in it, but he's apparently doesn't have any scenes with Hal, and it's like, why?
Yeah. Well, I don't know how much Hal's going to be in this show. I don't know. I mean, the show's about John.
I'm going to assume not a lot. If that's otherwise, why would you have those hang out? But I would. And it would be cool. I liked Arrow. It would be cool to have a more fun Green Arrow. I think there is room because they positioned Green Arrow very much as he's our Batman to do a more traditional Green Arrow.
Me too.
And I mean like hardcore lefty Green Arrow because that's
really he's gonna upset so many people for him being an authentic character like from the comic books. They'd be like, they made Green Arrow woke, and I'm like, and Green Arrow would be like, yup.
Yes, exactly. I would love that. King of New York says, hey guys, what do you think about Snyder's idea of the Amazons and Greek gods being ancient Kryptonians? What? Is that true?
That was what he wanted, yeah.
That was his plan. I hate it in general, but for the DCU, I think it could have been cool. No. I say boo.
Yeah. I understand the motivation to, like, keep it all tight, like, to connect it all.
Sure. I say boo and no.
Like there was a book called Spider-Man Chapter 1 where they were like, we got to streamline Spider-Man's origin for no reason whatsoever. Let's get the guy who did that for Superman.
Yeah.
And so Peter Parker, he gets bit by a radioactive spider. In the new version, the radioactive experiment explodes. And so Peter is like blasted across the room and he's like under rubble. In that same explosion, Doc Ock was doing another experiment and his arms get fused to his body and he gets to be Doc Ock in the exact same experiment. And it's at Oscorp. All this stuff pre-movie, by the way. And then the spider bites him. And they're like, oh, and Sandman and Osborn have cornrows, sort of. So, like, they're related now.
Yeah, cool.
And it was like, that was called Spider-Man Chapter 1. And it was an idea that was so reviled by the entire audience that even though Marvel was like, this is the official new retconned history of Spider-Man, the audience just went, nope.
Yep. No, we're not accepting it.
And then Kurt Busiek's like, here's a new story about Spider-Man being young, and I'm going to fit it perfectly within the pages of Ditko and Lee's books from the original stories. And they were like, that.
And then Ultimate Spider-Man comes along, and they're like, yeah, you did it. Good job.
Yep. And they just turned it into, they just went like, oh, I guess it's an imaginary story then. And I'm like, yep. You don't need it all to be like interconnected and part of it. It's a big world.
Yeah. Speaking of streamlining stuff, I would say, and I don't know if this is still happening, but they've been talking for a long time about making an Authority movie.
Yeah, and I think that's over.
That's interesting. I'm fine with that. But
Gunn said something about it where he's like, we've been trying to crack it. I can't.
Yeah, that's fair. I would rather than prioritize like Justice League and stuff like that.
Exactly.
But if you were to do it, have Apollo on Authority just be the god Apollo. He's now in a universe with Diana and Captain and Shazam. He's just the Apollo. He is, you know what I mean? Because why double up? You know what I mean? And I thought Greg Weisman was really good about that in Spectacular Spider-Man. About like if you want a good example of like a streamlined version of these origins, one, look at the DC animated universe, but also you can look at Spectacular Spider-Man where it's like, this is basically it.
These people all worked for so and so, and this is how they got their power. It's for a show that makes perfect sense.
Yeah,
for
Silver
a comic
Sable's
book or movie series.
No. Silver Sable's the daughter of Silvermane because they're both silver. Whatever.
They're both silver. You see.
Yeah. All right. Oh, and then Metro says my favorite part of Blue Beetle was Granny with a minigun, and Granny is actually a reference to Latin culture history as well. It was a good movie. I liked Blue Beetle. We're doing these movies. We'll get to it eventually.
Oh, that's true.
So stay tuned for that. It's during a dark era. Once we get to, those are going to be hard times when we get to Blue Beetle, but that'll be a nice little and the Suicide Squad will be a nice little bright spot among the Drek.
That's right.
Oh, can't wait to watch The Flash again.
Ugh.
Sal, before we go, any final thoughts on Wonder Woman?
I think it's one of the best from DC, from the DCEU. I think it was a good indicator that things were going in the right direction. How wrong we were, but and it worked in spite of a lot of obstacles.
Yes,
I think that also the engine of like the anti-engine that runs now, where people like the grifter engine, wasn't quite in full force when the movie came out.
Right. Oh my God, the anti-woke crowd would have fucking had a field day with this one.
They were unhappy, but like they weren't. But they were also like, but Wonder Woman, and also Zack Snyder's involved, and so like I guess we can put our stamp on it. Like all the things that happened in this movie, you would have freaked out about if it had come out 5 years later.
Yep.
But it's still a nice movie that still almost kind of works, and I think in the future they should just carve off all the JLM elements. Be like, look at this fun movie they made that they never made a sequel to.
Yeah, because you really don't need the opening closing, because she has one of those, and I just hate these generally, but like she has that opening and closing monologue that it's just like this doesn't mean anything. Like it doesn't.
And like the Bruce Wayne of it all, it's like, no man, what a shame.
Yeah. Which is funny because back then you're like, it's all connected.
Oh, it was great. I loved it when it was happening, but now it's like, well, it didn't go anywhere.
Yeah. Well, anyway, Sal, where can the kids find you?
Stop by youtube.com/comicpop and check out our latest episode of Back Issues, or swing by youtube.com/comicpop returns and check out our latest podcast where we talk about comics, movies, and all kinds of other stuff.
Check that stuff out. There are links in the description. You can find me everywhere that matters at DJ Talks Trash. You're watching this on my personal channel. Also, run a podcast network called Only Stupid Answers. You can find that over youtube.com/Only Stupid Answers. If you want to check out other shows Sal and I do, like Krypton Academy, which is now moved over to the Patreon, you can find that over at patreon.com/Only Stupid Answers. A little cough. And I want to thank everybody that joined us live. I want to thank everybody that participated in the super chat. We really appreciate it. And I think, what's the next one? Is the next one Aquaman?
I think it has to be, right?
I remember liking Aquaman.
Or is it League? No, we did League. Yeah,
we did League. I think it's Aquaman. That'll be a fun one to revisit. I don't think I've seen it since I saw it in theaters, so we will see. Thank you, everybody, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.